You are listening to Seven Horns AI, your AI-powered market update. Today is Thursday, June 25th, 2026, and the regular U.S. trading session has just come to a close. It was a heavily divided session on Wall Street today, leaving the major indices mixed. The S&P 500 finished essentially unchanged, down just 0.01% to close at 7,357.17. The Dow Jones Industrial Average managed to tick up 0.14%, closing at 51,920.62. Meanwhile, the tech-heavy Nasdaq composite slipped nearly 0.5%, ending the day at 25,358.60. Looking at the intraday price action, the day started on a strong note. Markets opened higher across the board, with the S&P 500 rising about 0.5% and the Dow climbing 0.65% in early trading, buoyed by blowout semiconductor earnings. The Dow even touched a new all-time intraday high of 52,655.66. However, the early momentum faded by mid-morning as heavy selling in mega-cap tech took hold, leading to a sharp rotation out of consumer hardware and software into semiconductors, industrials, and energy. Looking ahead to the overnight action, S&P 500 and Dow futures are currently flat. However, Nasdaq 100 futures are signaling a firmer tone for tech tomorrow, trading up 1.18% after the bell, fueled by a massive post-earnings wave in the semiconductor sector. Today's big story was indeed a tale of two markets within the technology sector. On one side, we saw an extraordinary surge in semiconductors, sparked by Micron Technology. Micron reported a staggering fiscal third quarter, with revenue soaring 346% year-over-year to $41.46 billion. Their earnings per share reached $25.11, easily beating the $20.20 consensus. Micron also issued blowout guidance, predicting next quarter revenue of around $50 billion. Micron shares surged 15.74%, closing at $1,213.56. This sparked a massive rally across the industry, with SanDisk soaring 21.97% to $2,335 and Applied Materials jumping 13.42% to $668. On the flip side, mega-cap tech faced intense pressure. Apple tumbled 6.12% to $275.15 after raising prices on MacBooks and iPads, a direct consequence of the very memory chip shortages that are fueling Micron's rise. Microsoft also fell 3.46%, Amazon declined 3.10%, and Meta dropped 2.65%. In other notable moves, MicroStrategy fell 9.35% to $85.33, tracking a sharp pullback in Bitcoin. Turning to international markets, today's mixed close on Wall Street comes just ahead of the Tokyo Open, which is about 1 hour away. While U.S. markets finished relatively flat, the massive semiconductor momentum should provide a constructive tailwind for Asian tech shares tonight. In the previous session, Japan's Nikkei index surged 4.6% to close at 72,366, driven by the initial reaction to Micron's blowout numbers. Conversely, Hong Kong's Hang Seng index fell 1.43% in its last session to finish at 23,076.91, dragged down by regulatory headwinds. With Nasdaq futures trading gaining ground after hours, traders will be watching to see if Japan can build on its massive gains while Hong Kong attempts a reversal. On the economic front, final first-quarter GDP growth was revised upward to a solid 2.1%, beating expectations. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation metric, the PCE price index, came in right on target at 4.1% year-over-year, keeping pressure on the central bank but avoiding any nasty surprises. Weekly jobless claims also fell more than expected to 215,000, showing continued labor market resilience. In other markets, safe haven gold ticked up 0.97%, while crude oil jumped 2.84%. Tomorrow, investors will keep a close eye on whether today's active rotation persists, and if mega-cap tech giants like Apple and Microsoft can stabilize after today's pullbacks. That's your market wrap for today. This has been a Seven Horns AI production. For more insights, visit us at sevenhorns.ai. We'll be back tomorrow.